Mr. Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for your testimony today. Is it correct to say that both you gentlemen were either appointed or hired by the White House, by the Trump administration?
Yes, sir.
In my case, by Secretary Tillerson.
But part of the Trump administration?
Yes, serving in the same administration.
Sure. Ambassador Volker, you previously testified that Ambassador Gordon Sondland, quote, "I just know that he had a relationship with President Trump that I did not have." In fact, in one text message dated July 26, you wrote to Ambassador Sondland, quote, "Great photo, Gordon. Can you get this to POTUS without intermediaries?" July 26 was the same day that Ambassador Sondland spoke to the president from a restaurant in Kiev. Is that right?
I'm sorry, the date again?
July 26.
Yes, that I know that to be correct now.
Were you aware of that call?
No, I was not.
Well, this committee certainly is aware of it now, as we all are. Were you aware that Ambassador Sondland had a direct line to the president?
He claimed that he spoke to the president frequently.
Did you have reason to doubt that?
Ambassador Sondland's a big personality and sometimes says things that might be a bit bigger than life.
But he was a political appointee. He was handpicked by the president or somebody in the president's administration to serve in his position.
And I believe that he could speak with the president.
He had also been a large donor to one of President Trump's campaign committees. Is that correct?
I have learned that. Yes.
And Mr. Morrison, you stated during your testimony that when you met Ambassador Sondland for the first time, he represented that, quote, his mandate from the president was to go make deals. And in fact, you testified that between July 25th and September 11th of this year, you heard or learned that Ambassador Sondland and President Trump spoke on several occasions. Is it accurate that every time you checked, you were able to confirm that Ambassador Sondland had, in fact, spoken to the president?
Yes, Congressman.
Mr. Morrison, you also testified that Ambassador Sondland emailed you and several White House staff to say that he briefed President Trump in advance of his July 25th call with the Ukrainian president. Is that correct?
Yes, Congressman.
Did Ambassador Sondland tell you what he briefed the president on?
It was, he sent me an email, sir. It was a very succinct, it was a list of 3 items. It was a very succinct item with respect to Ukraine. I briefed the president on the call.
And you testified that you personally confirmed that Ambassador Sondland and President Trump had spoken before the July 25th call.
That is correct, Congressman.
And presumably the White House Situation Room keeps a record of those calls.
Sir, that is how I was able to confirm it.
Okay, you separately testified that your staff prepared a briefing memo with suggested points for the president to raise on July 25th, points that were consistent with U.S. policy. Is that correct?
Correct, Congressman.
But the president didn't use those points, did he?
No, sir, he did not.
So I guess let me get this straight. You prepared materials for the president. Your materials did not include references to Biden or the 2016 election. Is that right?
Correct, Congressman.
And then Ambassador Sondland, the guy who is the Gordon problem, the guy who's got a direct link to the president, the guy who's talking about making deals, briefed President Trump. Is that right?
Correct, Congressman.
And then President Trump raised the 2016 election and Vice President Biden and his son to the Ukrainian president after he was briefed by Ambassador Sondland. Is that right?
Correct, Congressman.
It sounds like Ambassador Sondland and the president were on the same page. They both are working to benefit the president's personal political interest, even when that undermined U.S. foreign policy. I want to ask you in the short time that I have, both you gentlemen who serve the United States government, whether, putting President Trump aside, whether you believe that it's proper for any president, now or later, to ask a foreign government to investigate a U.S. citizen, and specifically a U.S. citizen that could be a political rival. Ambassador?
I don't believe it is appropriate for the president to do that. If we have law enforcement concerns with a U.S. citizen generally, there are appropriate channels for that.
Mr. Morrison?
I agree with Ambassador Volker, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Ratcliffe.